Welcome everybody to the Poke Battle Network. Today we're going to be looking at the Zodiac Cup, giving a little meta breakdown and seeing some Pokemon that we like out of these 51 new Pokemon that's going to be running around for this month of March. Joining me today is HurricaneKaz and brownballer10, Sylph Grassroots Specialist, and I'm so excited to have them on here. How are you doing today, Miss Kaz, and how you doing today, brownballer?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I'm really excited to talk about this meta because it looks so crazy.
I'm also pretty excited to talk about it because I'll say that, what was it, the last video was in for the, I've already forgot the meta name. It's the Sovereign meta. Meta names are not one of my specialties because I can never remember them. But I can say that the last video that we did together definitely helped a bit. So definitely looking forward to see how much this video can help me as well. It's been
interesting. Like, I think they really are trying to do really unique themes. Like, Sylph always kind of had a basis of like, these types are allowed, you know, like, and it would be kind of a whitelist of types with certain things here or there removed or added. Devon so far is really like pushing the boundaries of what we know about meta creation, especially Sovereign was interesting with banning very specific moves. It seemed you know, a little annoying for some people, but I do appreciate the effort to try and get us to use a lot of new Pokemon. I, for one, really enjoyed using my Candy Cane Furret.
Oh, Furret. Wait, so what second move are you running on? What second move are you running on Furret?
I started out trying Hyper Beam, but it was just too slow, so I went to the stereotypical dig, I think, that most people had.
See, I kept Hyper Beam on mine because I just wanted to beam something, and then I actually learned I should have been I had shields down against a Lapras, so I'm like, oh, I'll just throw Brick Break, and then Brick Break did not do that much. No. And then it kept not doing very much. I'm like, I've committed. Well, might as well continue.
Yeah, no, I'm not making the same mistake this month, as we'll see in one of my picks later.
No, that's great. Yeah, no, the moveset was something really interesting. We haven't really seen it happen before in any of the grassroots. Usually it's about typings, it's about, you know, specific Pokemon being banned, but having a specific move being banned really helped a lot of those normal typings shine. And I think it was very normal, which is why Furret got away with a lot of what it was able to, even though Brick Break was still so bad. I'm glad you guys are having a great time. They are giving us lots of different play because we haven't really seen normals besides like Lickitung and Vigoroth do anything. And you know, Double does have that double kick. It was something that you could be aware of for an earlier play Pokemon seasons, but now it's not so much. But having it play with the tackle, getting us now familiar with tackle, because we all think about tackle like, it's nothing, but they've actually done really great with tackle, with quick attack, getting us to feel more familiar with new fast moves. So
I can't wait to use 6 times tackle on my team.
Is that this cup? Is that this cup?
Why is tackle the 1-turn move and quick attack the 2-turn move?
Sovereign Cup was a wonderful cup, giving us many opportunities to play with different types of Pokemon and different new movesets. But Zodiac Cup, we're here for Zodiac Cup. This is March. This is really interesting because they gave us typings, but they're like, we're slotting these typings. You're only getting these Pokemon out of these typings. And there's a total of 51 Pokemon here that I'm not mad about from any department here. Every single one of these Pokemon, you're like, well, what is Alakazam doing there? I was like, hold on, Alakazam's got that counter, a cycle cut. It's got a lot of things. Yeah. Oh, what's Sceptile doing here? Fury Cutter, Leaf Blade. It's got an arsenal. It's like a Hypno in here.
It's like this meta is. I said it about Sovereign Cup, and I'll say it again here. Like, I feel like it's very unhinged because, like, for every, you know, kind of stable meta Pokemon you see, like Cresselia, or you know, like the Tentacruel has become more meta, Frostlass, that sort of thing. For every meta Pokemon that's there, they've also picked something that is absolutely bonkers. just to give you the chance to have fun again, you know, instead of running just the same things we see all the time.
I will say, I at least looking at the meta, I really don't see anything outside of a few mons that have never actually had play in the meta. So like, it feels like this is like a real combination of just a lot of just different meta history. Like if you look at Cress, Odyssey, Open Great League, fantastic. Mew, Open Great League. But if you look at like Pokemon like the Barbarical, it's been definitely playable in a lot of limited formats. Munchlax especially as well, and Frost is just a limited format. It's just insane. It's insane.
I'm really excited to see like some of these that I consider to be spicier. Like I'm so hyped for someone to run Pinsir and have fun, you know. Like, and I think it's gonna be exciting to see more people have the Sneasler now, since it was so accessible during the very recent Sinnoh Cup. Like it's been kind of a very niche pick. So I am hyped to see a lot more people play around with it, just because we all have had a very solid chance now. It's no longer unfair.
Also, another thing is, with one thing I really love that Devon's doing is shadows. I know Sylph was very friendly on banning shadows, but typically for myself, I don't build a shadow and a non-shadow, because that's kind of expensive, and they typically do have about the same coverage. I mean, just being able to have these shadow Pokemon, huge, I applaud that. I absolutely applaud that, because it definitely saves resources, because shadows are expensive.
I think there are going to be some Pokemon that actually succeed because of that shadow variant.
Right,
Things like Kingdra on there with that Dragon Breath, with that neutral damage, being able to put that extra pressure down. Alakazam can be shadow, but I'm not saying run that Snorlax. You get that body slam pressure to put up that extra shadow there. Jumpluff now. Everybody forgot that Jumpluff and Crawdilly are shadows. Like, you're absolutely right. I'm grateful that they're allowing these shadows, because we don't have a Shadow Cup. No one's really running a side Shadow Cup right now. And Knockout Cup didn't allow Shadow, but when they allowed it in Sovereign Cup, it really opened up some of those lesser Pokemon, and it literally allowed some of them to really shine because of that extra attack boost. Yeah, they might have been weak, but man, oh man, we all learned real quickly that either shields and energy were really important in that micro matchup, whether you were playing with that tackle or that quick attack, because those fast moves were coming in fast, and that shadow increase is just so nice, and that extra pressure is just so good.
You guys have fun with that. I'll be over here being a good research assistant and not using shadows because they're bad.
They hurt our Pokemon. There are 3 legendaries here in this group of 50. There's the Cresselia. Oh, 4. My mistake. 3 legendaries, 1 mythical. 4. So Cresselia, Suicune, and Regice. And then the 4th one would be Mew, of course. Out of all of these, from you two, out of your both of your perspective, which one would you like to see on the playing field more? Or are you expecting to see on the playing field more?
Which one do I like to see on the playing field?
Which one would you like? Let's go with like, because we all know Cresselia could be the dominant one here. Which one would you like to see more?
I would personally like to see Regice, because it has no fast move pressure, but it has great charge move pressure. So like, if you're up shield and my opponent's got a Regice in the back and you're in a great spot and their opponent's not, I typically don't like playing Regice because we don't talk about how bad my IVs are for Regice, because I have all of the lock-on breakpoints that don't exist with Regice. So I'm still trying to re-roll those Regices, but I know some people got very lucky, but I was not one of them, unfortunately. But
I think one thing I'd be most worried about is the Mew, because of the Mew sets that it could possibly have. I mean, there's a pretty standard subset of like Surf Wild Charge that I think we all inherently expect, but someone is going to be crazy and they're going to run, you know, something that you don't expect, and it's going to hurt a lot. So it's one thing that whenever I see it in any meta, I'm like, oh no.
Volt Switch, Focus Blast, Flame Charge. I'm just saying that option is there.
I'm just looking at a quick overview. I'm only seeing a couple Pokemon that actually resist Overheat on Mew. I like Overheat Mew. Overheat Psyshock is actually my preferred moveset. because I hate wild charge. I'd rather debuff my attack as opposed to debuff my defense.
Right.
Personally.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
Nice, nice. Well, looking at PVPoke here, PVPoke is up now for the Zodiac Cup for us here. And we got Cresselia, Munchlax, Greedent, Sneasler right there, Excadrill, Donphan, Excadrill Shadow, Frostlass, Sneasler Shadow, Frostlass Shadow. We'll go Celio, Beware, and Tentacruel, and Walrein Shadow. There we go. And we'll just throw that Berserker there. The top 15. A lot of Shadow, duplicating Shadows and whatnot. I see real upside to Focus Blast Mew here, because there's a lot of things that don't want to see fighting right now. Counter looks really good in that against that top 15, top 12. What are you two seeing out of this top 12 when looking through this PVPoke here of Zodiac Cup?
Well, it's interesting that Cresselia comes in at number 1 because, I mean, and I think that's like just from a sheer bulk perspective, because it can just, so many of the moves that I'm seeing here, like Cresselia only takes neutral and can sit there and take so much damage. But it is interesting to immediately see those two normals up there like, no. We can't let Cresselia be too powerful.
Well, another thing that I think you're kind of it's gonna be a trade-off for is dealing with that Cress. I mean, we got 3 dark poisons in the meta, but was it only the Hisuian Quillfish learned Sting? But I think you're gonna prefer Jab over that in this moveset. So I mean, I think you're really gonna see an emergence of those dark poisons. Really, I mean, but the issue is, these dark poisons are going to have to avoid the Drill, the Donphan, and those grounds there, which are overall pretty strong. But your notes. But do you know what the 4th note move that Cress has?
It's Grass Knot.
Aurora Beam.
Aurora Beam. Yeah, Ice Beam.
And I bet that Jump Bluff doesn't, or that Jump Bluff as well as, I mean, Wireless doesn't want to eat Moonblast, but definitely that Jump Bluff doesn't want to eat that Aurora Beam. But it's bad. But stop me from.
If someone out there wants to run Aurora Beam, like, they've got other problems.
I may be one of those people with this problem.
Donphan is such an interesting Pokemon. The reason why I say Donphan is such an interesting Pokemon is because it has Mud Slap, which would be great against the dark poisons. You have Charm, which would be great against the darks, or normals, or whatever you're trying, to do. And it has Counter. So like, there's a lot of Pokemon
it's gotta be Counter.
There's a lot of Pokemon in this meta where you can be like, you know what? I really need a Charm user. I really need someone that's gonna put a hurt down.
Or you could do one of the classic lines of Cresselia lead, Shadow Donphan of Charm safe swap, and Shadow Charm Gallade in the back. Cresselia double Charm.
I'm right here. Rude. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Yeah, that's great. Very, very interesting 51 set of Pokemon here. And we're going to break down 6 Pokemon that we think you should have either to start on your team of Zodiac, or that we think are just going to carry the team for Zodiac, or just have so much fun here in this meta. So let's head down and see what 6 Pokemon we've picked. We are here looking at the first Pokemon, and yes, we've talked about it, Cresselia. This Pokemon is so thick. We talked about it with Moonblast. I actually suggest you have Future Sight, as it takes out 60% of the meta when you putting up 2 shields for it. As it takes out 17 of the 11 top meta on PVPoke in the 1 shield, 58%. It beats the Donphan, the Beware, the Walrein, because it has that grassiness. We talk so much about the tank, the Psycho Cut that can get to it. You can rock Moonblast if you want. If you're like, you know what, I need to get to that anti-dark, anti-dragon situation. Or if you want to do it because you just need anti-dragon, put another Aurora Beam on there and you're set. Like, Cresselia's got tons of play. This thick bird, is it a bird? Is it a bird?
I qualify it as a bird because it is a moon duck. It's got a little beak. It's got little wings.
I mean, last time I checked,
my whitelist.
The bird expert right there. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all ducks are birds. So I would say yeah.
Perfect. This great legendary bird is going to be so strong for you to start to build with. If you're looking to start with your Zodiac team, I would 100% suggest starting with Cress, because with Cress you're going to get the comfortability and cushiness that this Pokemon provides, also that strong attack strength that you need from your opponent. So either safe swap or close are my positions on this Pokemon, as you will be able to have this tank for your team.
I like Future Sight. I mean, even in the Play Pokemon format, Future Sight has become a more popular option just because you get the same type of attack bonus. You can hit a lot more things neutrally. So yeah, I think it's a strong pick in this meta as well.
I mean, I might think you might be able to drop more of Grass Knot than Moonblast. I think Moonblast looks just really good just overall. I mean, I'd have to look more into it, but I think honestly you get a little bit weaker to the waters, but I think you're just so bulky that it's not like those matchups are really that terrible. I mean, you're just a bulk tank. So I mean, just having that coverage, I mean, just without Future Sight, you really get very weak to a Pokemon like Zweilous or any of the dark poisons, really. So I mean,
that's true, but Zweilous is pretty glassy, so I mean you could just spam as many grass knots as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all going to come down to what your team comp is and how you think you need to build around it.
Yeah, this meta so far has been looking like a real team synergized lineup, like team building. Like we talk about Cress is #1 on PVPoke, but there are so many things out there that you're gonna have to pair it up with something in order to protect it. And I feel that way with all of the Pokemon here. If Cress is feeling that way and that's #1, then all of the Pokemon in this meta are gonna feel that way, including Frostlass, including Crawdaddy or Jumpluff. Like that, just what I feel, because even though they're great in one aspect, they might have a weakness in another. And I think that the synergy of team building here is going to be great. So Cresselia is my first pick here for the Zodiac Cup.
Well, you know that if there's any meta that has birds in it, I have to talk about them, even if they are pretty spicy, right? And my first pick would be Staraptor. It did have a community day recently, so everyone should have a pretty decent one. And the moveset recently got updated with Fly being one of the charged attacks now. So now instead of running like the double self-debuffing nuke moves of Brave Bird and Close Combat, you have a reliable flying type move that won't actually debuff you. But you also have Close Combat for pretty much everything else that would threaten these flyers. Ice types, you know, the rock and ground types. None of those want to face a Close Combat from a Staraptor, whether it's non-shadow or shadow, because it has a very high attack stat and wing attack gets there very quickly.
I did not see many rock Pokemon out there in the lineup.
There's the Cradilly.
There's one, that Cradilly, right? Besides that, like...
And Barbaracle.
Barbaracle.
Yeah.
But Barbaracle doesn't even want to see Fly, but like that's a great combo there, because so with those ice tanks and like Lapras and Walrein, you got Close Combat. Finally, something you can counter with. I mean, granted, you use your health, but...
And plus, all the normal types that people might bring in to try and counter the Cress that we just talked about, those all like don't want to see a Staraptor either, because the normal subtype, like if you have what is it, Munchlax, and it's running Lick to try and get some fast attack damage off on the Cresselia, like Staraptor can sit there and take that all day thanks to its normal typing as well. Yeah.
No, that's a great Pokemon. I mean, you're the bird expert. You sit there and watch birds all day, every day. So you know. Shadow or not shadow? What do you suggest?
Well, you know me. I don't play with shadows, so I will be out there running my normal Staraptor.
but for battlers.
I do imagine that a lot of people out there that use shadows would prefer a shadow Staraptor. It does rank slightly higher because of the extra damage you get from the Close Combat from the Fly. So, you know, do play how you want. no judgments, but I will be playing with the non-shadow because that's just how I play the game.
Excellent. So if you have all the non-shadows, does that mean you have the return Staraptor for stab?
Somewhere.
My first Pokemon is definitely Frostlass. I mean, Frostlass is always a meta staple in limited metas. I mean, Frostlass with energy is absolutely unbeatable. If you can put energy on a Frostlass, it's basically game over. You can also run the Shadow version as well. You can even run Triple Axle. I know people don't like Triple Axle. I tried it with some Triple Axle. It's got some perks and also some disadvantages. But also, you can even, if you're feeling spicy, you can run Crunch on it as well for the mirror. I still think you want Shadow Ball, but that doesn't stop me from doing stuff like this. But there's definitely a lot of versatility and a lot of very good play of Frostlass. Good Frostlass play will typically always do very well in tournaments. Oh, yeah. Especially like tournaments like this where Cress is so good and be able to hit back against all of his counters, essentially. There's nothing that I've seen that walls it. Basically, should be only like Bibarel or Pyroar that really walls it, but nothing here does do that. So, I mean, Frostlass is just insane.
She's good in any meta she's allowed in.
Yep.
And lo and behold, there's only one fire out there, so don't... You thinking there's gonna be some fire Pokemon to stop Frostlass? You gotta use fighting to stop ice in this Pokemon Go.
Staraptor also has a fire move.
It's true.
Heat Wave.
Heat Wave.
Shut the front door. What? And we're going with close combat? Wait, Heat Wave's gotta be... What's that? What's that?
Well, ice
energy.
I mean, ice
energy?
doesn't... Ice doesn't resist flying, so like... Yeah, you don't necessarily need, and Frostlass is so glassy, you don't necessarily need the Heat Wave, but I mean, you know, go for it, Spice Lords.
You don't need it, but you want it. You don't need, it's not something you need, it's something you want.
Frostlass is a great Pokemon, and like you said, protecting a lot of these Pokemon too, like the Cresselia being as top as it is, it does put a lot of actual good neutral coverage down on those normals too with that Avalanche. All right, out of these three Pokemon, how do you feel about these first three Pokemon for the Zodiac Cup? We'll start with you, Miss Kaz, captain of the Queen Bees. How you feeling about these three Pokemon for this meta?
I think, like, actually all of our, you know, first picks here work really well together. You know, I think they cover each other's weaknesses really well. Cresselia adds like a lot of really nice bulk, where Frostlass and Staraptor are both very glassy. Plus it has decent coverage, you know, against some of the things that would threaten both of them, like those, you know, the rock and ground types, that sort of thing.
These feel very, very meta-centric, and they're going to be very, very good. They're probably going to be on 90% of teams. I think 95+% of teams will have one. I think 90% of teams will have both. So, or 2 of the 3, I mean, sorry.
Yeah.
At least 2 of the 3, yeah. So, I mean, they're going to be good.
I see a lot more people play with Staraptor over Cresselia. It's just, you know, Staraptor and Frostlass. Just
the power of birds.
The power of birds. Not only that, now I have to ask you, Baller, Shadow or not Shadow, because Frostlass is now able and eligible to be Shadow.
Hear me out. Shadows are bad, so you have to play Return Frostlass.
Okay, Return Frostlass. Here you go. So Triple Axle, Return Frostlass. Shadows are bad.
Yes. Take notes, everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, return for what? For the Walrein matchup. Who needs Shadow Ball?
Who needs it? Who
needs that same type attack bonus? I don't know her.
Exactly.
Well, these are a great first set of 3. Now let's look at our next set of 3, as we're going to bring 3 spicier Pokemon. Spicy-ish. Stuff that we feel might give you better play or funner play in...
So I'm looking at the Ariados. I'm actually running a little unconventional moveset here. I know Trailblaze is, I think, the preferred, but realistically, you want to basically lunge everything. But there's actually merit in Shadow Sneak. It helps a lot in the Frostlass matchup. And actually, it can make it a potential flippable situation depending on energy differential between the two. So, I mean, I may be a little bit out there with the Shadow Sneak, but I mean, I do like it, especially, I think it's going to be a very Frostlass-centric meta.
I mean, with Poison Sting, like, you already are getting to the lunge so fast. Like, what is the energy
45.
Oh, it's 45.
Oh,
so
yep.
Okay. So is it like, is there any bait potential from Shadow Sneak?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
it makes it a lot more consistent just overall. And honestly, I think you're going to get the first one through on Process, which will do about half of its health.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
What's that on Cress?
you'd probably lunge Cress because it's super.
Oh,
effective.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
you would definitely.
Just saying when
you
you
would
need to get
definitely
down to the wire.
lunge. Yeah, but you definitely lunge the Cress just because you're already getting its attack debuffed as well, along with being super effective. So the energy difference between those two moves, like he pointed out, just isn't significant enough that you. I don't think there's ever a situation where you're like, oh no, I need to get this Shadow Sneak in real quick.
Yeah, the Shadow Sneak comes first, then this lunge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just nice coverage to have. I mean, it does typically look like everything. Bug looks really good in this meta. I think, man, there's so much that actually doesn't resist it. It's super effective versus a lot of things. I think the only Pokemon you're going to get walled with is that Staraptor, actually, with that moveset.
My next bird is one that a lot of people might have overlooked, but it is the Galarian Farfetch'd. It is a pure fighting type, so it doesn't actually have a flying typing to it or a normal typing or anything. It is completely opposite to its Cantonian counterpart. But it does share some of the moveset attributes. It does have Fury Cutter as the fast move, which has a lot of targets in this meta. I'm looking at you, Cress. And it has access to Leaf Blade, which Leaf Blade is a really good move. Like, just a really good move overall. Hits a lot of things in this meta for like neutral damage at worst, and super effective at best, with all those ground types and a few of those water ices as well. And this one also does have access to Brave Bird, which, as we know, even though it's not does not get that same type attack bonus here, is still a really strong move and really great coverage in this meta.
It's so good. Like you would think it's supposed to be Frenzy Plant.
Yeah, like it's so strong. Like anything that throws it, I'm always surprised. Like, oh my god, that's so much damage. Why?
Yeah, and Fury Cutter builds up so quickly. I mean, Sceptile, one of the Pokemon I really liked out there when I saw it in the grass because of that Fury Cutter. I didn't know G-Fetch got it too. That's cool. Yeah. Because it gets to that energy so quickly. And yeah, that's some pressure now onto the Cresselia with this little bird. Now, does this beat Cress in the ones?
It does not beat Cresselia. It
that
does not
feature site just too strong.
Yeah, Cresselia is just way too tanky, even for a Brave Bird, even for multiple Leaf Blades. Like, you're gonna do a lot of really solid neutral damage with that Fury Color and with the Leaf Blades, and maybe even the Brave Bird if you can manage to land one, but you do not win the Cress, unfortunately. What you do win is all those ground-type Pokemon, like, all of them, because you can get to Leaf Blades so quickly. You also are gonna win those Water Ice matchups, so that's why these two birds that I picked worked so well together, because they cover each other's weaknesses incredibly well.
Yeah, they're really the rock was Armadillo and Armaldo and Credilli, right? So
and Barbaracle.
And Barbaracle.
But Barbaracle has a water
weakness down there, like always just saying and Barbaracle.
Yeah. But it's got a water typing that Leaf Blade doesn't like. That doesn't want to see Leaf Blade. On top of that, all of the ice Pokemon have water typings too. That neither the close combat or the Leaf Blade are just gonna have heydays for. Like neither of them are gonna be stopped. They're all gonna be putting up shields for that. Like those two moves. That's a great core right there. Nice put together with birds too. Look at you. Look at you. So
you think I don't know bird facts?
I didn't think you know this good on bird Pokemon facts. Good lord.
The one thing I will say that is unfortunate is that the Farfetch'd does lose against some of the normal types, since it doesn't have access to a great fighting move. You do have the option of running Brick Break, but as we talked about in our brief coverage of the Sovereign Cup, like it's just not a great move, and I think the coverage of Leaf Blade and Brave Bird is going to be a lot stronger for you here.
Awesome. Excellent. Those are two wonderful Pokemon. That's a great, nice little fun spice Pokemon for everybody to have. I like it. Well, my last second final Pokemon is going to be the fire. I am a fire sign. I will absolutely want to burn everything down. And so I will bring Rapidash. And you're like, well, Sosa, just because you're playing with fire, what does you got? Rapidash beats Cresselia. Hello. It beats Cresselia and it puts that Frostlass into check. I'm here for it. Let's do this. It's with 2 shields, has a 63% win rate. So that's something it does. It beats Frostlass, Muck, Excadrill, Cresselia, and it's got great range against all of the non-meta Pokemon throughout the matchup. If you look at just on PVPoke, go through the meta, you're like, what are you talking about? It's like 14 of 14. It's like a 50-50, right? But then you put the whole meta in it on the one shield, and it's like 50 wins to like 12 losses, and it's just a completely different monster when given 2 shields. Incinerate with that boost from this timeless travel and flame charge boosting up that Incinerate will give Rapidash all of that love.
It's such a rude Pokemon now with the Incinerate buff and the addition of the attack boost from flame charge. Oh my gosh. I mean, I've seen it in Talonflame all the time. So, yeah. But since Talonflame's not here, the horse has to show us that there is still a fire type.
Some fire has to show up. I'm so tired of seeing grass and ice just running around unchecked in any meta that we have. They're just running around having a grand old time with Frostlass, with Whiscashes, with Laprases in ball range. No.
Wait, who would ever run ice and grasses that are unchecked? That sounds like something that somebody might do. I wonder who.
I don't know who's done that yet, but we haven't seen any fire really play. But hopefully, this Rapidash will be the way for you when you're playing this Zodiac Cup, because I was playing with it just a minute ago, and I've seen it come through in GBL that, like we said, once you start ramping up those Incinerates, it's over. It's got a ground move for that poison dark typing that we've seen all the darks have. So you're covering your Cresselia too. It actually goes really well as a Cresselia coverage here. So this is kind of why I put Rapidash with it as well, because you get these two together and they kind of take on a lot of the meta. Like, I could put, you could put whatever you want onto that line of 3, onto that line of 2 and feel really good. But that's my take.
Yeah, I agree.
I
mean, the one fire type, when we have, quite a few grass types, a few bugs, that sort of thing, and a lot of water ices, I think fire definitely has a place. So a lot of people are probably going to be trying Rapidash for the first time.
That is going to wrap up our 6 Pokemon that we think you should try to look into, maybe build, work on, or is going to have a lot of fun. We'll give you that coverage here in the Zodiac Cup. Just a note, March 1st will be the new meta, Wondrous, whatever. Wondrous, what is it? Wishful, Wondrous Worlds. Another W, right? We had Wishful Desire, then Adventures Abound, Timeless Travels, now Wondrous Worlds. We're sticking with the alliterations. Thank you. I was about to say alliterations. That's not right.
Maybe next one will be Zodiac Z.
Zodiac Za. How about that?
Zone of the Zodiac. Yeah.
Devon GG is aware that something could happen and a Pokemon could go crazy. We've talked about this. I've talked to developers. They will adjust and work with us to make sure that if somebody goes crazy, like when Oranguru came out and we weren't expecting it to go ham during Forge Cup and completely dominate that, the developers will work with us to adjust that so that it's not so overpowering. So don't fret. Start building your teams now. Just be aware that a small moveset could happen.
And so I feel like if there's going to be a lull, hopefully they would put it right then so that the entire meta doesn't change right before the largest tournament in North America.
I mean, that would be logical, but we have seen them throw up new moves and change it and then send us to Liverpool or Worlds. I think Worlds was a brand new meta last season.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty wild.
And that was the wildest one, because we were all bored about Walrein, Noctowl, and Trevenant, and then all of a sudden Worlds happens and it's a completely different play style. So yeah, I think that this might be a lull of a meta change, but you never know. It's always up to Niantic. So when you are building your teams, just have that in the back of your mind and be on the lookout for that. But one, would you say all the 6? And then if not, which 2 or 3 would you say are the key here?
I definitely think, I mean, Fross is a really good pick. Like, I think Fross is solid even without any move update or anything. Like, she's always great any meta that she's allowed in. Extra energy and a shield advantage usually gives you a win condition. So I think Fross definitely guaranteed to show up on a lot of teams. I think a lot of people are probably going to run with Cresselia at first. Just again, the sheer bulk is a nice attribute. But it might tamper off, after you realize this moveset isn't really getting me where I need to go. The Pokemon, there are too many counters coming out of the woodwork. But I definitely think we'll probably see a lot of Cress early in the month.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I mean, I think those 2 are just the higher ranked meta Pokemon. Those just typically just get higher usage just in general. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff. I mean, we only have 6 Pokemon to pick from in feature. I mean, there's 51 in total to pick from. I think you're going to see tournaments where you see all 51 Pokemon used. Maybe some more so than others. Probably you'll see, maybe, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that one ice Pokemon's name. Cetodile?
Cetitan.
Oh, Cetitan.
It's Cetitan.
Oh, so yeah, Cetodile is the pre-evolution. And
I'm not very familiar.
Oh my god.
The evolution.
If you're looking for an ice spice Pokemon, Cetitan is the way. Body Slam, Avalanche, and Ice Shard. And it has 202 health and 182 defense. I've been doing my research on it. Cetitan is pretty solid. Sorry.
I'm not familiar with it. So, I mean, that's another thing. Is just what people already have built. You're going to see a lot of people go back to their comfort zone. Some of the older players may lean more towards an Amok Pokemon. Some of the newer players may lean more towards a Walrein. It's really going to be based on what you have built and then starting from there. Because, I mean, obviously building new Pokemon you don't have built is definitely always a resource. But I think another Pokemon we may not have mentioned, Mew. It's just versatile. And versatility is key in a meta.
Yeah.
Completely agree. I think the 2 Pokemon, I think all 6 Pokemon here would be good. If you have a fetched, good for you, build it. I think the 5 and then plug in whatever you want, maybe another tank, maybe a grass rock, something there other than fetched. And the only reason I take fetched out is because the resources for the fetched might be limited, because might not be the best.
You actually don't,
or the eggs.
You actually don't need any XL candies for the Galarian Farfetch'd, and it doesn't need to be a hundo or anything. And in case you were wondering, yes, I do have a Cantonian Farfetch'd that is best buddied and maxed out as much as it can be for me to use, but that's a me problem.
Hey, we all love our Pokemon, right? We all have our special types. But yeah, no, if you haven't and you only got them in eggs and you're looking to trade, maybe not the Farfetch'd. I would say, all these Pokemon, the way they were described and the way they're going at it, you're going to have good coverage through everything. And you can even make the Pokemon changing the movesets to fit you better. I would prefer Crunch on Frostlass if I want to play in my opponent's head instead of just going up to the Shadow Ball, throwing the Avalanche early where they're not going to shield it on the normal or whatever, and then crunch it, or close combat and wing attack on that Staraptor. That's a great play there. Like, different movesets all around. Ariados, I'll have to play with Shadow Sneak. I love the idea, but I mean, like you said, most of the meta is only asking for lunge. So I think this line is great. I do agree that Muck and Mew should be honorable mentions in this, because I feel like they're going to be, one, Muck is such a comfortable poison Pokemon and a dark Pokemon that people can use it and feel comfortable with it. It's been around since season 1 of Sylph, so brace yourselves. And then Moveset, we just talked about it with these Pokemon. Someone's got a Moveset that's built to handle it with Focus Blast or Brick Break and something fun like a Dragon Claw, or does it get Avalanche? Or does it get Avalanche?
Yeah,
No.
I'm pretty sure it gets
Rock
like
Slide.
every
It gets
move.
like Rock
Rocks,
Slide. Yeah.
Rock, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right, you can make your Mew into anything. So yeah, this set here, the two, I would say the Frostlass for sure, and I'll stay with Cresselia for the beginning of the month, but I might lean more towards the Staraptor or the Rapidash, just on the fact alone that both of those help Frostlass cover everything else. So
Yeah.
Another thing also, it'd be kind of interesting to see how Confusion Cress can work as well. I mean,
I didn't even think about Confusion Cress. That's right.
I mean, it doesn't look like there's very much that really resists outside the darks, and I mean, it's really going to help for that Frostlass matchup, as well as kind of provide a very similar. You can drop Future Sight now and run the Moonblast.
Wow.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, so a lot of these Pokemon offer huge amounts of flexibility as well, which is always really nice. You know, I love it when you can like surprise, have a little surprise in store.
Yes. It's always great like that as Spice players, as battlers who love to build teams and build Pokemon with that specific special move to surprise your opponent and get them off tilt, make them think the entire time focusing on the Shadow Sneak, when all of a sudden you're gonna land your close combat on them from your Staraptor and take them out with a Drill Run. Like, it's great strategy all around. Thank you two for joining us today with the wonderful Zodiac breakdown that we've had. I appreciate you both giving your 2 Pokemon here on these 51 incredible Pokemon that we have through these typings and these Zodiac symbols, I guess, typing styles, Zodiac styles. But yeah, no, appreciate both of you. HurricaneKaz, where can people find you?
Sometimes you can find me on the Twitter, sometimes known as X, I guess. I am at the HurricaneKaz on there, so look me up. I post about Pokemon a lot, but also a lot of birds. Just in general.
Excellent. And Brownballer, where can battlers find you?
You can find me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/brownballer10, and also on Twitter, also brownballer10 _. On Twitter, I put nonsense, do as much as I can to get as many likes as possible, because that's my favorite thing about Twitter, and post my random cooking videos. I have a new one dropping soon.
Cooking, you say? Hello.
Yeah. It's
you cooking Magikarp?
Nope. It'll be how to cook a bag of spaghetti.
Excellent. I'm excited to watch that video.
What is your spaghetti policy?
It's your spaghetti policy. Yeah, where are the rules?
All right. Well, you can find our leaders at the respected social media outputs, as these 2 community leaders are top-notch in helping battlers around the world get to know what it's like to play in teams or understand GBL. So be sure to check all of them out, as we'll have links down below to go click and follow them. Thank you, Brownballer and Kaz, for joining me today. Good luck out there as we are getting into the 4th month now of DevonCorps GG with, third. third month now as we're going to get to DevonCorps GG's ranked season here with the Zodiac Cup. Thank you all for watching, and like always, keep on battling.